A brazen shootout in full public view in the presence of police and local government officials. If this sounds like a scene straight out of a gangster movie, it's not. This is what happened in Darjanpur village in the Ballia district of Uttar Pradesh. A local BJP worker shot a man dead. He was caught by the police, not one, not two, at least 5 policemen around him. But somehow, mysteriously and magically, the man managed to flee. How did that happen in the presence of half a dozen policemen and the district magistrate? Is there no fear of law and order in the state of Uttar Pradesh? This is my lead story tonight.
A brazen daylight shooting in Uttar Pradesh's Ballia. The accused, Dhirendra Singh, a BJP worker and an ex-army Jawan, fired indiscriminately at the crowd, hitting a 46-year-old man. The gunshot victim died instantly. It all started on Thursday, when a meeting was called by the Ballia sub-district magistrate for the allotment of ration shops. Dhirendra Singh, who is wearing a saffron kurta, can be seen at the meeting along with other locals. What followed was a scuffle between Dhirendra Singh and the locals. The accused can be seen punching a man. He allegedly wanted the allotment shops in his favor. Moments later, Dhirendra Singh brazenly opens fire. Not once, not twice. All in the presence of government officials and police. The shooting triggered chaos and claimed the life of one man. If the shooting was brazen, what followed was bizarre. After the gunfire, Dhirendra is surrounded by several cops at the scene, but the accused managed to flee, allegedly with the help of police. 7 people have been arrested so far, but the shooter is at large. The police ransacked the accused's house in Ballia after the incident.
ये गिरफ्तारी 7 लोगों की हो चुकी है। 8 नामजद हैं और 25 अज्ञात लोग हैं। और मुख्य अभियुक्त तो मेन फोकस है हमारा, और कहीं से भी कोई कोताही नहीं होगी, और ये एक एग्जाम्पल के रूप में हम लोग इसको सेट करें।
मैं इतना ही कहना चाहूँगा कि कार्रवाई बहुत स्ट्रॉन्ग कार्रवाई होगी, किसी को बख्शा नहीं जाएगा और इन अपराधियों को मैसेज दिया जाएगा कि जुर्म करने का मतलब क्या होता है।
The police are also being accused of forcing early cremation of the victim against the wishes of the family. The BJP initially denied any links with the main accused, but later, party MLA Surendra Singh admitted the ties.
मुझको विधायक बनाने में उसका परिवार वोट दिया है, लोकसभा चुनाव में वोट दिया है, अभी सभी कार्यक्रमों में भाग लेता है, तो मैं कैसे कह सकता हूं कि मेरा सहयोगी नहीं है। भारतीय जनता पार्टी का वो सहयोगी है, मेरा ही सहयोगी नहीं है, भारतीय जनता पार्टी का सहयोगी।
धीरेन्द्र सिंह यदि आत्मरक्षा में गोली नहीं चलाया होता तो कम से कम उसके परिवार के दर्जनों लोग मार दिए गए होते और उनके गोल के दर्जनों लोग मार दिए गए होते। लेकिन जिस तरह से प्रशासन अपनी कार्रवाई सुनिश्चित कर रहा है, उससे मैं जरूर ये अपना आग्रह करूंगा कि दूसरे पक्ष के भी पीड़ित लोगों की पीड़ा को लोग समझें और उनकी पीड़ा को भी देख करके जो न्याय हो सके उनको भी देने का कष्ट करें।
The opposition has hit out at the Yogi Adityanath government, claiming breakdown of law and order.
भारतीय जनता पार्टी के सत्तारूढ़ दल के कार्यकर्ता मदांध हो गए हैं और वो कानून को अपने हाथ में ले रहे हैं, और पुलिस पस्त हो गई है, पुलिस रोक भी नहीं पा रही है उनको। इस प्रदेश में बलिया की घटना साबित करती है कि जंगल राज है और प्रशासन पंग हो गया है भाजपा के दबाव में।
जिस प्रदेश में पुलिस प्रशासन का इकबाल खत्म हो जाता है, समझो उस प्रदेश में तालिबानी जैसा माहौल हो जाता है। इससे साफ जाहिर होता है कि उत्तर प्रदेश के अंदर में अपराधियों का और दबंगों का राज चल रहा है। कानून व्यवस्था नाम की कोई चीज नहीं। आज पूरे उत्तर प्रदेश में अफरा तफरी का माहौल है।
One more incident of lawlessness in Uttar Pradesh. The shooting has once again put the spotlight on the state police, who were accused of going soft on criminals. Were the police simply inept, or were they complicit in helping the shooter flee? They have many questions to answer. With Abhishek Mishra in Ballia, Bureau Report, India Today.
So just imagine for a moment what happened in Darjanpur. You've got the main accused, Dhirendra Pratap Singh. He shoots a man dead. Soon after that, he's picked up by the police. He's got 5 policemen around him, and somehow he manages to get away. Was the police complicit? Was it just incompetent? Joining me on the Newstrack, I want to welcome first one of the senior most ministers in the BJP government in the state of Uttar Pradesh. Live from Lucknow with us at this moment is Siddharth Singh. Also joining us on this broadcast for a perspective from the Samajwadi Party, its spokesperson Ghanshyam Tiwari. Representing the state BJP, Anila Singh. Supriya Srinath is a spokesperson of the Congress Party, and we've got Vikram Singh, former Director General of the Uttar Pradesh Police. Siddharth Singh, I want to come to you first. How is it that this local BJP worker, Dhirendra Pratap Singh, is caught? First he fires on open camera. All of this is happening in broad daylight. He's nabbed by the police. And somehow, and I still can't understand how this could have happened, he gets away when the police has got him. First he shot someone, so you can say, okay, that you couldn't control. Then you've got the man, and yet he manages to get away. How did that happen? What are you finding out? And what's the police telling you about how Dhirendra Pratap Singh managed to get away after killing Jai Prakash Pal?
Well, it's certainly an unfortunate incident, Rahul. And the police who were around in that area, they should have caught him. And since they did not do what they were supposed to do, certainly the police, they have been suspended and action been taken, including the SP and the junior DSP also. So what they were supposed to do, they haven't done, which is very sad. At the same time, the DGP and the administration hasn't lurked from their duty. They have been suspended and action being taken against them.
So this incident comes soon on the wake of what happened in Hathras, a story which really shocked people all across the country. One of the strongest pitches of the BJP government in Uttar Pradesh was that unlike what was happening on the watch of Akhilesh Yadav, the former Samajwadi Party chief minister, you had claimed that law and order, maintaining law and order, ensuring that people are scared of the police, that Rutba tha law and order ka, people were scared of the police. All of what we've seen over the past few days and weeks really makes people in Uttar Pradesh and across the state wonder how strong those claims were and whether at all they were true.
No, sir. Well, there's no comparison with Akhilesh Yadav or any other regime before that. Certainly the crime rate and particularly against the women, the SC, ST, the children, they all have come down, and the registration of FIRs have gone up in Uttar Pradesh. So all those things, when you look at brutality, and nobody else but the NCRB is giving the report, they all speak volumes about how things have improved in Uttar Pradesh. But since you have mentioned about the Hathras, it's a sub judice now because it's with Supreme Court, so I won't be speaking much about it. But Hathras, what was being claimed and what was the reason as being shown by the brother and sister walking on the expressway, certainly it doesn't seem to be big because there are versions coming out. So let the final report come out and we will all understand what was happening in Hathras and why there was a political game plan in Hathras to exploit a particular section of a society for a vote bank.
No, but the question that will be asked, Minister, is this. This particular person, Dhirendra Pratap Singh, is a local BJP worker. You've got the local MLA come out on camera and say that he was in fact head of the Sainik Prakosh, the serviceman cell for the district of Ballia, and he worked very closely with the local BJP MLA. Now, when this man gets away, people will wonder, was it because he was a member of the ruling dispensation that he managed to get away? Otherwise, how is it that you get picked up, you're surrounded by, and all of this is caught on camera, so we can be certain about this, you're surrounded on camera by at least half a dozen policemen, and somehow you managed to get away? Is it because he was a member of the ruling dispensation?
Well, I can't really answer on the local, how the police, what made the police allow him. But certainly it is wrong. Nobody is allowed, whether it is a BJP worker or MLA or even a minister. You're not. The instructions are very clear and instructions need to be followed. If they are not followed, then action will follow from our side. And that's exactly what's been done. And as far as this, the MLA who has come in support of the BJP, the shooter or the one who came up, Dhiren Singh, if that MLA is also being taken to task and there is a process in the party, the BJP president is taking stock of it and he's taking whatever needs to be spoken to him, whatever is being suggested by this disciplinary committee, that all is being done. In due course, you'll all hear about it.
What's reassuring is that you're saying that there will be strong action against anyone who's found guilty, and you're emphatic in the manner in which you're saying it. So we'll hold you to that. Siddharth Nath Singh, for joining us. Thank you very much. The main accused in the Ballia shootout case is still absconding. Initially, the local district president of the Bharatiya Janata Party claimed the party had no link with Dhirendra Pratap Singh, but a simple analysis of his social media profiles revealed that Dhirendra had in fact very clear links to the party. He'd been working with the BJP at least for the last 4 years, and across Facebook, he posted several photographs of himself with local leaders and the MLA. The MLA in fact came on record to say that this guy is my man.
Bullets flew. Harrowing chaos followed. Some surrounded a dying man on the ground. And police captured the alleged attacker on the scene. But turns out the suspect, Dhirendra Pratap Singh, mysteriously escaped. Armed with a gun, he was first able to attend a public allotment of ration stores. An event presided over by senior district officials and guarded by local police at Ballia's Durjanpur village on Thursday. He then allegedly opened fire on rival groups and fled after being briefly held.
मृतक के भाई द्वारा बताया गया कि वो मौके पर पुलिस द्वारा पकड़ा गया था। भीड़ भाड़ का फायदा उठा करके वो निकल गया। निश्चित रूप से पुलिस की लापरवाही प्रथम दृष्टया जो परिलक्षित हुई है, उसी कारण से थाना स्तर के जितने भी यहाँ पे पुलिसकर्मी मौजूद थे, अन्य जो भी यहाँ जिम्मेदार राजपत्रित अधिकारी थे, शासन द्वारा उनका भी संज्ञान लेकर अपने स्तर से कार्रवाई की जा रही है।
Suspect Dhirendra Pratap Singh's association with local politics, however, remains prominently displayed on his social media profile. His Facebook shows he has been a member of the BJP since 2011. The year he retired as Army Jawan. Son of a retired teacher and father of 3 children himself, Singh's pictures suggests his proximity to BJP MLA Surendra Singh. The legislator also owned up this connection with the accused party worker.
बैरिया विधानसभा क्षेत्र का मैं विधायक हूं और धीरेन्द्र प्रताप सिंह जी हमारे चुनाव में, लोकसभा के भी चुनाव में एक सहयोगी कार्यकर्ता के रूप में हमारा सहयोग भारतीय जनता पार्टी का सहयोग किए हैं। तो मैं कैसे कह सकता हूं कि मेरा सहयोगी नहीं, बिल्कुल ही इसको मैं बिल्कुल मैं झूठ नहीं बोलता। हकीकत है कि हम बीजेपी का वो सहयोगी था, लेकिन चूंकि गलत गोलीकांड जो है दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण है, इसको हम लोग अच्छा नहीं मानते।
भाजपा शीर्ष नेतृत्व को हृदय की गहराई से हम लोग बधाई देते हैं, भाजपा कार्यकर्ता बलिया जनपद के, कि आपने एक ऐसे सांसद को यहाँ पे भेजा है जो जनपद के लिए गौरव की बात है।
Indeed, Dhirendra Pratap Singh seems to have been actively involved in BJP campaign, at least at the local level. But a 46-year-old man, Jai Prakash Pal, died from the gunfire he allegedly unleashed during a crowded public meeting.
The burning issue of alleged lawlessness and negligence of police in Uttar Pradesh. The local administration in Ballia is under intense pressure to capture the suspect as soon as possible. The question remains unanswered until it's conclusively investigated how he escaped in the first place after he was caught by the police at the scene of crime.
In the meantime, the local BJP leadership has sought to project the Ballia firing as an act of self-defense.
अधिकारियों के माध्यम से जो जानकारी हुई है, उधर से सैकड़ों लोगों ने लाठी डंडा लेकर के धीरेन्द्र प्रताप सिंह के बहन को, धीरेन्द्र प्रताप सिंह के भाभी को, धीरेन्द्र प्रताप सिंह के पिताजी को और उनको भी सबको 7-8 लोग चोटिल हैं। केवल एक पक्षीय जो है सूचना चला करके और समाचार चला करके समाज को न्याय से वंचित करना चाहते हैं। हकीकत ये है कि गोली कांड अच्छा नहीं है, ये दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण है, इसको अच्छा नहीं कहा जा सकता।
Aside from the MLA's apparent defense, police have named 8 suspects in the FIR, including the main accused, Dhirendra Pratap Singh.
देखिए, जीने का अधिकार प्रत्येक व्यक्ति को है, लेकिन किसी को भी अधिकार नहीं कि दूसरे के जीने के अधिकार को छीन ले। और अगर कोई छीनता है, तो मुझे लगता है उसके साथ वैसे ही व्यवहार किया भी जाना चाहिए।
That's how an elected chief minister once issued a tough warning to criminals. This time though, the Ballia administration may have a lot of explaining to do on how the suspected killer escaped custody in the first place. With Abhishek Mishra, Bureau Report, India Today.
Does the episode in Darjanpur in Ballia in Uttar Pradesh raise further questions about law and order in the state? Because this was the government's biggest pitch that we fixed law and order. Or is it wrong to look at isolated incidents and to try and draw larger conclusions? Joining us on the Newstrack, we've got Ghanshyam Tiwari of the Samajwadi Party, Supriya Srinath of the Congress, Anila Singh of the BJP, and Vikram Singh, former Director General of Police. I, in fact, have data out on our screen right now, which looks at the tenures of 3 different chief ministers, Mayawati, Akhilesh Yadav and Yogi Adityanath. And Ghanshyam Tiwari, the data says whether you look at the number of murder cases or you look at the number of rape cases, it's under Akhilesh Yadav, the Samajwadi Party chief minister, that the cases peaked. In fact, under Yogi Adityanath, the number of cases of rape and murder actually coming down. The BJP can argue, don't look just at Hathras, don't look just at what happened in Darjanpur. These are terrible, as Siddharth Singh says, but it's not because we're in power, it's happening despite our best efforts. Let's start with Ghanshyam Tiwari.
Well, let me add to your data. I have the newspapers of today which have great glowing pictures of Adityanath. You open the newspaper, it says UP is ranked 2 in ease of doing business. You open the newspaper, you hear about heinous, spine-chilling crime in Barabanki where a Dalit girl was raped. You read about Hathras, you read about hunting of a common man by a BJP leader who's the right-hand man of a BJP MLA, Surendra Nath Singh, who Mr. Siddharth Nath Singh was saying some disciplinary action will happen. If you look at Surendra Nath Singh himself, there are 4 charges against him on criminal intimidation, 1 charge on attempt to culpable homicide, 1 charge attempt to murder. There's a whole list that we will exhaust the program, will not complete. Look at the Chief Minister, Deputy Chief Minister. There are 150 MLAs and MPs of BJP who have criminal charges. 100 have serious criminal charges. This is an administration sitting in the lap of criminals. Adityanath did not become Chief Minister by doing peace march, or Keshav Prasad Maurya did not become Deputy Chief Minister by doing peace march. So to give them a flag just because they advertise a lot like this, that they will clean up Uttar Pradesh just because they said so, the news, everyday news does not tell us. Yes, we can look at statistics and argue over them, but that statistic will not tell us why a man who was caught by 6 policemen, who in a previous visual sat with the CEO, sat with the SDM, carried a gun openly to representing a women's Sahayata Samoog. And why is the man still scot-free?
Okay, so Anila is saying, Ghanshyam Tiwari says, your claims of fixing law and order are nothing but a marketing gimmick. This man comes to a public auction with a gun. He shoots a man in broad daylight, manages to get away despite being caught by half a dozen policemen. It clearly means that law and order is not on the mend on your watch?
Rahul, just now even your channel was showing the graphics that crime was at its epitome during the Samajwadi Party tenure. I was listening to Mr. Tiwari and he was saying so high about Mr. Akhilesh Yadav. So let me tell him that you are downsizing Yogi Adityanath ji and you are talking so high about Akhilesh Yadav ji. Then I have to tell you, Akhilesh Yadav ji got politics on the platter. Silver, gold platter, whatever you want to say. And Yogi Adityanath ji doesn't comes from any legacy. He has worked hard to achieve this, and he is working hard to control crime and criminals and corruption in Uttar Pradesh. And UP people, they have got trust and confidence in Yogi Adityanath ji. That is why we have made hat-trick here. Samajwadi Party cannot claim, and just now you gave several examples. You mentioned about Barabanki also, Mr. Tiwari. Then I have to tell you that in Barabanki, the cousin brother of the girl, he is the accused. He did the crime. So what you have to say about all those people who are sitting right there in the house, or they are the neighbors and they commit crime against
Supriya Srinath,
so
Anila Singh counters by saying it's not as if these incidents are happening because we want them to. Crime and corruption is on the mend. It's happening despite our government's best efforts. Supriya.
I don't for a second believe that any government can completely stop crime. I don't think we can live in fool's paradise, whether it is Congress or BJP or any other government in this country. But the reality is what follows after a criminal act is what is important. And in UP, what follows after a criminal act is more often than not negligence. Here is a man who in broad daylight shoots a guy dead, and then instead of being captured, he flees. Are you telling me that 5 policemen could not hold this man back? Are you telling me they are not complicit? Are you telling me that the elected MLA of that place comes and says, "Ye to kriya ki pratikriya hai"? He is justifying the act, and this same MLA has made absurd statements. In fact, very, very victim-shaming statements on Hathras. No action has been taken against him. The minister was here some time back, and he goes on to say that, you know, SP has not been suspended. His information is wrong. His information is also wrong. The disciplinary action has been taken. What disciplinary action has been taken against Ranjit Srivastava, who made that gruesome, statement about Ganne ka khet? What action are we talking about? I mean, UP today is a jungle raj. We can look the other way and say we are not going to talk about it because he did not have it on a silver platter. I don't understand these arguments. The reality is there is no law and order. कानून की कोई व्यवस्था है ही नहीं. आज broad daylight में दिन दहाड़े एक आदमी की हत्या होती है, वो आदमी 5 पुलिस ऑफिसर्स के होते हुए भी भाग जाता है. वो भाग सकता है या उसको भगाया गया है? ये सवाल है आज.
Vikram Singh, भाग गया या भगाया गया? You know, you've been Director General, you've led the Uttar Pradesh Police. I want our producers to put those images out on your screen around 2:15 p.m. yesterday in the afternoon. There he is, the main accused, Dhirendra Pratap Singh, after shooting Jaiprakash Pal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in close proximity. I see a 6th policeman right at the back, and somehow Dhirendra gets away. Bhag gaya ya bhagaya gaya? What's your view, sir?
Mr. Rahul Kanwal, whether he ran away or he was facilitated his escape, the fact of the matter is that this is incompetence of the worst kind. And I am tempted to believe that the policemen and personnel were so petrified and mortally scared of the person's political contacts and the political pedigree and also the impact the local MLA has. Perhaps these policemen did not have it in them to apprehend him with a sense of purpose. They were rudderless individuals who were there just for the sake of being there. They did not have it in them, and perhaps the strength of the Lord was missing totally, that they could have intervened with a sense of finality that was totally lacking. They were all, as we call it, the sad sacks, unmitigated disasters to say the least, and what they should have done. I would stop at that. But yes, suspension is not the punishment. There's a provision of registering a case and sending them to jail when person in custody escapes from the right, and the right to private defense ceases when there is a police contingent close by. The right to private defense is taken care of by the armed police contingent and not by individual carrying a licensed weapon.
Anila Singh, the former Director General of Police, calling this the incompetence of the worst kind and making the point that the policemen seem to have been scared of this BJP workers' political contacts, and therefore they were left rudderless because they may have worried that if they act against him, his local political patrons belonging to your party would come to his rescue?
Rahul, my answer to accusation which Mr. Singh has made on Bharatiya Janata Party government in Uttar Pradesh is, yes, 2 senior officers were present and almost 11 or 12 police personnel were there as well. And in front of them, if an uproar breaks out and people start beating each other, then that leads to gunfire and a person dies in that gunfire. Definitely it is unfortunate. And inquiry is on, officials have been suspended. And just now,
you haven't responded to the most critical part of what Vikram Singh said, Anila Singh, which is that, is it the case that the police were so petrified of his local contacts, which they would have known about the political patronage that he enjoys, given his close proximity to the BJP MLA, that they didn't have the courage to go out and arrest him? And what does that say about the kind of mindset the police operates in?
I don't think so. I don't think so, because in Uttar Pradesh, in Bharatiya Janata Party government, politicians, they don't get postings done like earlier governments. So we do not sell our thanas. So definitely a question like Supriya also said कि भागा या भगाया गया, तो इंक्वायरी हो जाने दीजिए ना, इंक्वायरी में सब पता चल जाएगा.
Ghanshyam Tiwari, Anila Singh says we're acting against the local cops, we're not hiding anything. If this man ran away because of the incompetence of the police or its complicity, the local police will have to pay. Unlike the SP government, we don't sell thanas, she throws it back at you.
Rahul, just think about the visual that you are playing and what Mr. Vikram Singh has said so eloquently. That here is a man in open daylight, he shoots, takes out a gun, shoots a person, is surrounded by a dozen policemen, including 3 sub-inspectors, a CO rank officer, and walks away. Any local reporter will tell you that he has business links in illegal liquor with the MLA who's protecting him, whose criminal charges will run more than the mark sheets that you and I would have. So this is a complete setup of crime that exists, where a man can openly shoot in daylight and just walk away. Have we ever seen a case like this? What can be? This is as bizarre or more than the Chief Minister ordering burning of pyre in the middle of the night and suspending police that we saw in Hathras. Every day is a new day of bizarre lawlessness, Jungle Raj in Uttar Pradesh, because the Chief Minister is incompetent and he enjoys this diktat leadership that he has, that people will say he is a strong Chief Minister because he can come and make strong statements. His own records of crime, his own records of governance, his daily records of lawlessness and Jungle Raj does not support his claim, but his advertisements support his claim. There cannot be a more bizarre case. I don't think there can be any defense. Nowhere in the world you will see a man kill an innocent man and walk away like this.
Your rant is absolutely baseless, Mr. Tiwari. Mr. Tiwari, your rant is absolutely baseless. As I told you earlier, that ours is a democratic country and people decide that which government, which political personality is the best for them. And as I told you, there has been hat-trick. BJP has made hat-trick in Uttar Pradesh
so this
in
man
different
should go
elections.
Away. So people who kill a person in broad
so you
daylight
cannot say that the people of the UP, they don't have trust and confidence in BJP.
Walk.
Come on.
What does your argument has to do with the fact
should I start narrating about your leaders? Should I start narrating? Do you know why Mr. Azam Khan went to jail? Should I start narrating that?
You have made 3
Supriya, one second. Anila and Ghanshyam, please. 1 second. I can't have both my guests speaking over each other. This will soon degenerate into a Banana Republic-like conversation, and I'm not okay with that. We'll try and keep it sane, and we'll try and keep it sensible.
Can I please come in?
Supriya Srinath. Anila Singh makes the point, look at what happened in past dispensations, look at what happened in the 5 years of the Samajwadi Party government rule in Uttar Pradesh. You have to look at A, electoral validation, she says, B, net law and order is coming down, there is fear of the police, and yes, there are incidents, but those are isolated incidents, she argues. Supriya.
I mean, mean, this doesn't cut ice with me is all I will say. I mean, what isolated incidents is she talking about? Look at the kind of gruesome crimes that are happening in Uttar Pradesh. And there are only two words to describe this, Rahul, and I don't want to sound as if I'm only criticizing this government. There are only two words, and those two words are political patronage. You pick up crime after crime. You either have a BJP leader involved, or there is political patronage given to the accused. You look at Kuldeep Singh Sengar, you look at Chinmayanand, you look at what was happening with a certain minister in the UP government and what happened in the Kanpur criminal case. I mean, you know, Kailash Vijay Varghya is their vice president nationally, and he has said, Yogi ji ke raaj mein to gaadiyan kabhi bhi palat jati hain. That's how brazen governance or misgovernance, shall I say, is in Uttar Pradesh. Because there is political patronage, it emboldens people to carry out the crime that they're doing. I'm not in the least surprised this guy thought he can shoot a man dead and walk away with it. That's exactly what's happening in Uttar Pradesh. And let's not keep talking about one government versus the other. You are in government now. You have a majority. People have shown you their support and their faith. Let's live up to that faith instead of living in denial, Ms. Singh.
Anila Singh.
Rahul, can I?
Yes,
please. Thank you so much. You know, just now I heard Supriya ji, and you know, he was talking so bad about Uttar Pradesh. She was talking so bad about Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh. Supriya ji, Uttar Pradesh itna kharab nahi hai, yahan ke log bhi itne kharab nahi hain. So you're talking especially about crime against women. So I have to remind you, if I talk about top 5 districts which have highest crimes against women, Uttar Pradesh, any district doesn't come in those top 5. If I talk about crime against, if I talk about the state-wise rape figures, then again Uttar Pradesh is not at the top level. I do not want to get into it. I just have to say here that graphics which are being shown on this channel as well, that shows, that proves that crime has reduced under Yogi Adityanath ji, and that is the fact, that is the reality.
Here's the question I have for Vikram Singh. You know, a certain kind of crime done by a certain kind of criminal, you can argue has indeed come down. But what we are seeing is another kind of crime done by another kind of criminal with another kind of patronage that seems to be increasing. Is that a fair assessment? How should we be dealing with that? What should the government in the state be doing?
Rahul, I think we have a tendency to do the statistic the way it suits us. Statistical correlation must go side by side with public satisfaction. My statistics, if they go to prove a point and the public satisfaction is missing, then my statistics prove nothing. I would like to just give you one statistics. Is the conviction rate going up or going down? It is going down. And if it is going down, it is a matter of concern for all of us. We are all citizens of Uttar Pradesh, and we know that it is a horrific situation if the conviction rate is not going, is increasing day by day. Even in rape cases, it is well below 27%. In other heinous offences, it's even worse. So to talk about the conviction rate is the acid test of what policing and what prosecution is all about. And I would say one last response about the police reaction there. The police, had they been professional, they knew that the right of private defense, in the extent that a person is killing someone, they should have known that they could have shot him dead there, shooting in between the eyes or on the third button. But they were absolute lame ducks, absolutely in a state of stupefaction. And this is the worst possible sign that the police...
I'll let the former DG have the last word. For the time being, Mr. Vikram Singh, Ghanshyam Tiwari, Shrupriya Srinath, Anila Singh, for joining me on the broadcast. Thank you very much. Another rape and murder of a Dalit girl in Uttar Pradesh's Barabanki district adjoining Lucknow has put the state government in the dock. One arrest has been made in this case so far, even as the family is demanding a CBI investigation. The police claim that they've caught the accused, that the accused was known to the family, and that this is not a reflection on the state of law and order in the state of Uttar Pradesh. Here's the story.
A Dalit girl raped and strangulated in Uttar Pradesh's Barabanki district. The horrible crimes against women in UP continues.
I am here at the Pipari village in Barabanki, where adolescent girl was brutalized, she was killed, raped, and her body was found in a field.
The body of the 17-year-old victim was found in a field by her family on Wednesday. The autopsy report a day later confirmed rape, following which rape charges were added to the murder case that was filed. The distraught family of the Dalit girl is demanding a CBI investigation.
वहाँ खेत में पहुँचा तो देखे तो वहाँ पे चप्पल उतरे थे। फिर जब ढूंढते ढूंढते पहुँचा धान टूट रहे देखे तो बेटी की लाश हमारी बत्ती दूर पड़ी थी, वो हाथ पैर बंधे हुए।
UP police questioned the victims' family members and their relatives on Friday. One accused has been arrested, while 3 teams have been formed to nab the others.
डिजिटल साक्ष्य और जमीनी सूचना के अनुसार घटना में शामिल अभियुक्त दिनेश गौतम पुत्र शत्रुघ्न गौतम निवासी पिपरी टोला सेठ मऊ आयु 19 वर्ष ने घटना में संलिप्त होना स्वीकार कर घटना के अन्य विवरण का खुलासा किया है।
The Barabanki crime comes in the wake of several similar cases in the recent past. A Samajwadi Party and Bahujan Samaj Party delegation met the girl's family.
इस घटना को पूरा दबाने का प्रयास किया जा रहा है। मेरी तो ये भी डिमांड है कि उन पुलिस कर्मियों के खिलाफ कार्यवाही हो, सबसे पहले जिन लोगों ने ये तहरीर ही गलत लिखाई है।
Another horrific case of rape and murder has put the Yogi government in a tight spot. It comes just days after the Chief Minister assured that his government would make safety of women its top priority. With Kumar Abhishek in Barabanki, Uttar Pradesh, Bureau Report, India Today.
First, it was the Tanishq ad that came in for criticism and backlash online. Now there's an Akshay Kumar movie, Lakshmi Bomb, that's facing a backlash. The actor is being trolled for allegedly promoting Hinduphobia. I'll get you that story on the other side of a quick break. Stay with us.